Hey everyone, Lawrence Mack here, real estate broker out of Mississauga, and I'm here today to talk about understanding your buyers and sellers. I'm just going to go through a quick presentation just about personality sorting, and then we could just chit chat about anything you like. So give me a second while I share the screen. So today we're just going to talk about personality sorting. So I don't know if you know what that is, but personality sorting is when you sort people based on their personality. So a quick example of that is if you see someone that's sort of like really extroverted versus very introverted. It's just a way of sorting them so that you can, I guess, make some assumptions about them, kind of like a stereotype. Number two, the question is, does it work? And although there's been a lot of disagreement about this, some people really feel strongly that it does not work, and some people feel strongly that it does work. I'm personally of the opinion that it works and it's helpful, but some people feel that it's not really scientifically proven. So let's just ignore that for now. And let's talk about, for example, if you know someone who's like really introverted versus someone who's really extroverted, you would probably deal with them in certain ways. And that's sort of where the advantage of personality sorting comes in. That way you basically, again, you sort of pigeonhole them into a box, and then you make sort of assumptions and you sort of work with it from there. And again, I have found that it's been very helpful. Next three, types of personality sorting. I'm going to quickly go through a couple of the major ones, but there are like dozens and dozens of different ways that people sort personalities. Like even on the very basic level, again, extroverted versus introverted is a method that some people use. I'm going to quickly talk about Myers-Briggs, which is actually called Kersey temperament sorting, but people just call it Myers-Briggs. But this one is based on 4 different major factors. I remember reading up on this a lot in high school and university, just for fun.
Hey, Lawrence,
and yes,
just a point of order since I haven't joined you before. Is this a Q&A as we're going, or do I let you run the whole presentation before I ask any questions?
I'm trying to run it quickly, or I mean, I actually, the last few times I've just been doing this a little more like 10-minute quick presentation and then we just talk. Unless you want to just talk throughout, I'm okay with that. I could try it that way. I'm happy to do it that way. Let's try it that way. Why the heck?
Well, I just wanted more elaboration on why somebody thought personality sorting might not work. I mean, it's not going to pigeonhole everybody, but
I agree with that.
100% works.
I agree with that. So let me go back to, does it work? Yeah, I agree with that, but I've had online conversations where they feel strongly that it's just like astrology, reading tea leaves, and it's not like scientifically proven. I've talked with other, smart people. I guess I'm more of the calculating logical end, and they just feel like there's no scientific basis for any of this, and you can easily game the system. My personal feeling is that although you could game the system, I mean, I could obviously answer all of the personality quizzes with, super extroverted or super introverted, that kind of stuff. But I don't feel that like that's useful. Like I feel that your baseline model of your personality is there. And so although you might be extroverted for a certain time or introverted for a certain time, like their natural proclivity is to a certain type of thing. And so that's why I feel that it's helpful, because once you know that someone really, really likes to be alone and within their own thoughts and that kind of stuff, then it's easier to deal with them. So, I mean, I'm on your side, which I do feel that it works, but some people feel strongly that it does not work. Like I've had arguments with people online and offline about that.
I think if you're looking at the naysayers that say, you can answer the questions you want, they're absolutely right. So,
yeah.
When I was doing this whole online dating thing, right? You'd fill out in eHarmony, you'd fill out your personality types and it would ask you questions. So if you found $10 on the street, are you going to chase somebody down and find them? Are you going to quietly put it in your pocket? Are you going to give it to charity? And everybody thinks, oh, I'm a nice guy. I'm going to find them or I'm going to give it to charity. So they write that down. But deep down, fuck it. They were going to put it in the pocket.
Yeah.
Right? And, all sorts of these other questions and all these dating sites, they answer how they think they want to be or should be rather than how they are. So if it's self-administered, like hiring for an admin, yeah, I get it, because I think they're going to try and skew it to what you want. But if it's through your own observation, and I observed that I'm working with a guy from Sybase, that can barely look at me, that all he wants is numbers. It doesn't matter how much I tell him his family's going to love that house. He wants to know the numbers,
Yeah.
right? So it 100% works if you have accurate information and maybe you go off your own read rather than try to give somebody a test. That was just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. On a side note, I think eHarmony is pretty good. That's where I found my wife. That's where a lot of my friends found their people. And it does help on eHarmony if you fill it out honestly.
Yeah, but that's the problem, because you don't know you're not being honest when you do it. You're being
That's
wishful.
true.
But you're right. I found my wife on eHarmony too, and I was honest.
And you're honest, and it helps, right? There's no point in not being honest there. Although I had a friend that may not have been that honest, but then they actually didn't, this is a side note, but they didn't actually accept him on eHarmony because it was, I guess, contradictory, like his answers, because I guess he was trying to answer one way and the other way. And eventually when they analyzed it, they said, sorry. The gist of it is, sorry, you're like unstable. We're not going to allow you on this platform. That was the gist of it until he took it again. And then I think eventually he met his wife on eHarmony. But anyway, that was an aside.
All right, well, I'll let you get back to your point because I was distracting you there.
Oh, no problem. So you know what? I'm happy to do a more interactive thing because I actually do find it very difficult to just talk to the screen for like 15, 20 minutes with no feedback. Like it's hard.
Well, by the way, if you do it that way, nobody's going to learn anything.
Yeah.
You have to stop and gauge their receptiveness and what they've learned. If you don't, it is.
I know it's not easy, and in the live room, it's a lot easier to get the interaction, but with Zoom, it's a little harder. Yeah, I found. So anyways, back to personality sorting. So personality sorting. So as I mentioned, there's like a whole bunch of different things out there. Myers-Briggs, which is like Kersey, there's DISC, there's True Colors, there's like Big Five, there's like a whole bunch of different type of things. Oftentimes, it's like a way that they organize the different personalities, and then either they have their own spin on it because they're trying to make it proprietary, or they just feel like in terms of their own research or studies that they found like something interesting, and then so they make their own adjustments to it. So quickly about Myers-Briggs, I'm not going to go much into this, but this is used a lot in industry. Basically, it's based on 4 different things. So the extroversion, introversion is very easy to understand. Thinking versus feeling, easy to understand. These are some other ones which, if you're interested, you can go more into it. I felt that this was very accurate when I was doing it. If anyone's curious, I'm ENTJ, which is a field marshal, which is like CEOs and generals and that kind of stuff, but that's just like my personality. So I felt that was close, but this takes like a lot of time to analyze. And so a lot of people do like other methods such as DISC or True Colors, which I feel are similar, but the people who do it tell me they're not. I don't really understand the nuances, but they're very similar. So I'm going to go into DISC. So again, this is very deep into different types of personality sorting. We're going to go into DISC, which some of the big brands really like in terms of the way they categorize people, and other people use True Colors. Go on. Yes, Jim.
What's the purpose of this personality sorting? Is this for hiring? Is this for looking at our clients? What is the purpose of this?
That's a great question. So the main goal that we're trying to go through here, the topic, is really just to understand your clients, understand your prospects, understand the different buyers and sellers. If someone is, let's just say, extroverted versus introverted, again, we'll go for the very simple example, right? Someone who's running around. Yes, Jim.
But we're not giving them a test.
Right. Right now, I'm just trying to go for the basic, just so that I'm assuming people don't know anything about it, and then we're going to go further on. We can do a test later on. Or what do you mean?
Did you ask the room what they know about it?
I haven't.
If everybody has a basic understanding, then maybe you get more to the meat. Or if somebody needs, like, I'd always ask, where are we at?
Right. Let's do that afterwards. I'm just trying to.
Okay, I'm going to mute and shut up for a while.
No, it's not just that. I had like a presentation in my mind of just quickly put to go through everything. And then now I'm just like trying to adjust on the fly. But in the future, I'll probably do more interactive. I think that is a better method. But anyway, just trying my best here. So my goal with personality sorting. So for example, introverted versus extroverted, you have an idea of what that is. Someone who's really, really outgoing versus someone who's really, really quiet and likes to be introspective. I guess not necessarily introspective, but they gain energy by being alone. And so when you speak to those people, you might speak to them in different ways. And so that's what we're talking about in terms of just personality sorting. So I just want to quickly go through DISC. So right now I am dumping a lot of information. I am sorry for that, but just a lot of things to go through. And I'm not like a major DISC practitioner in terms of like official certified DISC person. But the reason why a lot of people like DISC is that it's usually very quick to, it's a lot easier to analyze, to judge what type of person that they may be, and then to move on from there. So more of a behavioral thing. Because a lot of people find that this is a simpler method of quickly sorting someone. This I find is very good for just understanding yourself. Okay, I'm gonna quickly go through DISC, and then after that, we'll talk about something else. So this is a quick basic thing about the DISC model. DISC stands for dominant, influential, compliant, and steady. The way that this works is that there are 4 different categories that you can, there's 4 different proclivities of things that people like to be. Dominant, which stands for someone who's direct, decisive doer. So you can think of them as someone who's just like go, 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 get things done kind of stuff, bottom line. That is the personality of someone who's very dominant. Influential, you can think of them as someone who's very, I guess, social, who's very influential with people, interesting, interactive, impulsive. They are social butterflies, that kind of thing. Again, you can go into more details about which individual thing. I'm just trying to give a very basic outline of what DISC is. Third is compliant. You can think of these more, I guess, like an engineer kind of thing. They're very compliant, cautious, careful, conscientious. They like the numbers, very logical. And lastly, steady. Steady, supportive, sincere. These are the people who are, I guess, who like the status quo and don't really like change that much, are very risk adverse. So that would be the 4 different types of, I guess, 4 things in the DISC model that people seem to have a natural tendency for. And usually you'll have all 4 of them, but it depends on varying levels. Any questions about this part so far?
What if someone is like a little bit of everything here?
Yeah, that is usually the case. And so that's where the proponents against the personality sorting are like, well, I'm pretty much all of them all the time, or depending on the situation. And that's true. I do feel that when you're dealing with people, people have a natural like tendency towards something, whichever one it is. And even with yourself, when you think about it, you probably have a natural tendency for things. I'm actually pretty balanced in 3 of these. Which I'll tell you, dominant, influential, and compliant. I do not like the study. I don't care about as much about the status quo. I just like to sort of get things done. I don't mind talking to a whole bunch of people, but I really like the numbers as well. So that's sort of my personality, and they're all very, very even. Depending on when I take the test, they are very, very similar. But the lowest I have here is like, I don't really have the need for status quo or for stability in that way. But yeah, it changes a lot. So I will move on to the last one, which is how to adjust to your clients. Okay. Oh, what are you? So the next step is to figure out. So the 2 things that I think is good is first figure out what you are, just so that you understand like the different ways that your personality can be sorted and maybe understand yourself a bit better. And then afterwards is more about trying to learn how to see those type of personality traits in other people so that you can sort of put them in a certain category and move on from there. The what are you, the more specific thing is there are a lot of online personality tests you can take that might help, where you can select what your preference is. So for example, if you're at a party, what is your preference in terms of what you like to do? Do you like to just hang around with one person? Do you like to work the room, right? These are different things that give you a baseline about what your personality might be. Or similarly, if you see somebody working the room or standing in the corner and just drinking by themselves, it'll give you a better idea about what personality that they are. And lastly, using the personalities, how to adjust to your clients. So that's roughly what I have today in terms of the presentation. So I guess we'll move on to a mastermind interactive part of this. First off, does anyone have any questions about any of this?
Yes.